Alright, hello, this is Gary Simon, and in this video we're going to continue on with the design of our homepage for logodesign.co. And again, I feel like a broken record recorder or whatever, but hopefully you're using your own project for this. That way, again, you can kill two birds with one stone. You can just kind of, I mean, if you follow the layout a little bit, how I'm doing it, but you're making it specific to your service, you know, that's fine. That's no big deal. I don't really care. So in this section down here, this may be a little bit tedious. We're going to create 6 custom icons for 6 areas that will outline the different benefits and the features of the service. So those 6 would be fully vector, control panel, turnaround time, full ownership, unlimited revisions, and additional services. And each one of those headlines will have basically just one sentence of text underneath it, further elaborating on the information. And so alongside each one of those, the copy there will be a icon. So we're going to use that blank circle, which is right over here. And let me just drag it down. I know it's up there somewhere. There it is. And so real quickly, so we can bust these out, I'm just going to create 6 copies of these real quick. So I'm going to duplicate the layer. Take these 2, duplicate them again. And once more. Okay, so the first one's going to be for fully vector, and the text for that is all files are delivered in fully vector formats, which is obviously a necessity if you're a logo design company. So in this first one, I just want to illustrate just a very general idea that pertains and relates to fully vector. So sometimes you can be literal, sometimes you can be abstract. So in the case of vector, I'm just going to put like 2 square pixel things right here. Designed much in the same way as the first one we did. So if I take this, again, I want to make sure we have our correct color here in the foreground. We'll zoom in here, take the rectangle tool, just hold shift for a perfect square. And then we can duplicate that. And really, you should be using a shortcut for this, but right now it's interfering with one of my the Camtasia shortcuts, so I'm just duplicating it manually. Let me get to 100%. I want to scale that down just a little bit. Apply. And again, I want to do the same thing where I cut out an edge of the blank circle. Say right around there. Okay, so now if I zoom out, that's our first icon. So let's move on to the second, and that's going to be control panel. And the best idea I came up with this was just to kind of show kind of like a browser window, obviously very simplified. So I'm going to use the rounded rectangular tool, and radius we have set at 15. I think I'm going to use something more like 4. And I'm just going to draw out, hold Alt there, and drag this up top here. We're going to make the foreground color just white, and then we're going to double click on the right side of the layer to bring up the layer styles, hit stroke. We're going to choose inside. Actually, you know what? I may just leave that outside. And then the color we can specify right there. Hit OK. Now I may want to adjust this a little bit different. It's a little bit too square for me. So if I just go ahead and take the top portion, or rather, we can take the bottom right here and use our arrow key to squeeze it up just a little bit. All right, that's good. And then I kind of want to put just like an address bar. So right here, put one right there, and then just a circle for like a submit button or something. Okay, I'm going to zoom out and just see what this kind of roughly looks like. I think I might want to make the stroke a little bit thicker. So auto select layer. We'll go back to stroke, and we'll try 4. think 5 works better. Alright, so we'll take those 3 layers, select this, hold shift, move them down and in just slightly. Alright, and so we'll take this circle and then delete those. Alright, so our first 2 are done. Let's move on to our third, and this is going to be an icon for the concept of turnaround time. So we're going to use like a clock right here. So we'll take the first, I'm going to change this foreground to white. Holding Alt and Shift to do this. Basically, you just want it to be a quarter of the larger circle. And a quick tip, we want to add this the border or the stroke around it. So instead of doing that all again manually, we can just click on this, right click, hit copy layer style, click back to our white circle right here, right click and paste layer style. And it's a little bit bigger than the other one, so I'm going to scale it down just a little bit. And then we're just going to have 2 quick layers here of a rounded rectangle tool. Just make sure this is the correct color. We'll duplicate this, hit Control T, and just move it down there roughly. We could use our arrow keys to further align it, and I think that looks pretty good. Alright, so we could take this, and we're going to use an elliptical marquee tool, and just right around the center, I'm going to draw up. Actually, well, let me hit delete and just see how that looks. Yeah, there's a little bit more white space in between here, so let me do that again to make it larger. Using my arrow keys. I just hit edit undo for that. Alright, that looks a little bit better. So we got 3 out of the way, so let's continue on. 4th one's going to be full ownership, which just means you own all the rights to use the creatives as we deliver. So this is just going to be one of those judge gavels or whatever, just to illustrate the idea of legality. So what we're going to do is just create a real simplified version. I'm going to use 2 just for the border radius. Make our foreground our turquoise color, and I'm not even going to bother trying to put it inside yet. I'd say roughly this size, and then we'll take the rounded rectangle tool, create the handle, and then we'll just create a couple white notches. Let's see here. Right here. Make this white. We'll duplicate that layer, bring it on to the other side. Alright, right there looks good. So now what I want to do is take all of these layers, and this is the first one. Take this and these 2, hit Control E. Oops. Hit Control G rather, just to group them. Then hit Control T, hold Shift, so that's at a 45-degree angle. Let me drag this above. And let me just zoom out real quick, Control 1. This needs to be a little bit larger, so I'll increase the size there. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let me position it a little bit better. I'll go ahead and take this layer. Actually, since we have it's at an angle here, it wouldn't look quite right if we used a circle or a square just to cut that part out. So what we can do is use the pen tool, make sure path is selected up here, And then we could just draw out a rough area. Around it, and then right click, make selection, hit OK, and then hit delete. Alright, so we got 2 more left, and the next one will be for unlimited revisions. And so basically it says, regardless of the package you order, we will work with you until you're satisfied. So we have to illustrate the idea of revisions or unlimited. So the best thing I could come up with was just to go ahead and take this shape over here and duplicate it. Drag it over. And then right click, duplicate it again. And then maybe one more time. I'm using my arrow keys. And I might want to take all 3 of those layers, hit Control T, scale down. And I may also want to change the stroke on one of them because they're a little bit thick since there's several of them. We'll just try down to 4. Right click, copy layer style. Select these 2 layers above, right click, paste layer style. Alright, so now we have all 3 of them selected. I'm going to select the circle and delete right around there. All right, and then we just have one more, and that's going to be additional services, which will allow them to order other things aside from just logo design. And for this, I'm just going to put like a tool. So just to illustrate the idea of multiple tools or multiple services. So with this turquoise in our foreground, let's go ahead and I'm going to take the pen tool and just so I can line things up correctly, I'm going to view, show the grid, and I'm going to start right up around here. Oops, I actually messed up. We need to make sure shape is selected. Put a notch in right around here. This is going to be like a screwdriver. We'll make this 2 layers. I'm just going to do the handle up here. I'm going to real quickly just take these 3 points and just pull them in with the arrow key. And then I'm going to take this, duplicate the layer, edit, transform, we're going to flip horizontal. Alright, and then real quickly take our pen tool, right around there. Alright, so we have 3 layers right here. Oops. And I'm going to hit Control G to group them. Control T. Make it at a 45-degree angle and scale it down. We're going to try that just for now. Let me drag it up. Oops. Make sure group is selected. Let me hit Control H. Now there's a very slight white line in the middle. So let me hit Control H to view everything. I'm going to view, show. I don't want the pixel grid, and I don't want the grid to show. Okay. So what we can do is if we take this and we drag out and we put add anchor point tool, if we add one just right here and right here, we can take the direct selection tool, just move that in, both of those points. All right, so let's go back to 100%. Then the final thing we need to do is to take the circle. We'll use the pen tool again here and make sure path is selected. First we want to select our layer. Let's hold Control and select it. Actually, that's not even. All right, make selection. Hit the delete key. All right, and there we go. So now what I want to do is make sure, I just want to take all of these, each of these individual icons and put them, basically just flatten them down. So let me go ahead and, let's see here. The background, I want to make sure this is locked so I can't select it when we have auto select layer. So that way I won't select anything except for what I'm selecting here. And if I just hit Control G, we'll make this a group here. We'll call this vector or icon vector. Take this, hit Control G, icon control panel. Okay. Icon TAT, turnaround time. And we'll call this icon ownership. I know this is tedious. We're almost done. Icon revisions. And icon services. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, if we go ahead here and select group for auto select, we'll select the whole group instead of the individual layers. So now what we want to do is get these all positioned and get the text in. So we need to view our grid. And basically each one of these, it's going to extend. We're going to have 3 on one row and then 3 on the next. So if we select this first one, get it into position right around here, starting there. And we want to make sure these are all on the same path. So let me undo that and take these first 3. Put them right around there. And I'll take this one. It's going to start right here, just at around the 8th. And then this one right here is going to start right here around the 5th. All right. And these, well, let me go ahead and get rid of this or hide the columns. Let's put these down here for now. And now we're going to go ahead and put the titles. So let me just, let's take this one up here. Oops. Right click, duplicate that. Just going to drag it up here to the top for now, or close to the top at least. And this one's going to say fully vector. We can extend this and left align it. And of course that will be bigger. So the size, let's try 24. I think we can go a little bit bigger than that, so let's try 27. All right, and then underneath it, we're just going to have some other text. So I'll duplicate this. The size, let's use 16. All files are delivered in fully vector formats. And if you can't see it, it's because there's a little plus, so we just pull this down. I want to make that slightly larger. Let's go to 18. All right. So let's take these two and let's duplicate those. And duplicate them one more time. And change them to the appropriate text. Control panel. Maintain direct communication with our custom control panel. Turn around time. Obviously, you can fast forward this because I'm not doing anything that's remarkable right now. All turnaround times from primary concepts to delivery are stated. And if this happens, you can just adjust that real quick. Alright, so now what we want to do is we could take each of these 6 layers, right click and duplicate them, pull them down, it's right around there, and then we'll auto select group and get all 3 of these selected. I want to make sure it's in line with those. Alright, and let's pull this one over here. And this one, oops. Let me find this one manually real quick. There it is. Alright, full ownership. Unlimited revisions. And additional services. Now I'm just going to, I have this text already off to the side, so I'm just going to take each one of these, copy them. And because I'm pasting this, copying this from a different source, the line height is adjusted differently, so I'll fix that manually real quick. And I kind of like the line height here a little bit better. So if I get my character palette out, we'll see that it's just at auto. So we can select these 3, make sure layer selected, select all 3, and just change this to auto. There we go. Alright, so that is pretty good for now, and let me go ahead and check out the space beneath this from my other document that's to the left that you cannot see. For now, I think that's a pretty good point to stop this because that took, we're already at around 25 minutes. So beneath this, we're pretty much almost done. I think we have only about likely only about maybe 20-25 more minutes until we get this whole thing ready to go. So when that next video is released, hopefully you'll watch it. All right, I'll see you then. Goodbye.